Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a great day. If you guys are Scoop strong, go support our girl Andy Jo Taylor at Fenders tonight next to Polaris Mall. She's going on from 8:30 to 11:30. Go take care of our girl. Show up, spend some money, have a good time. So we're a little bit early today, so we appreciate you guys as always. Again, monster day for Nevadabuck. Again, really bad day for the, oh, nothing's going to happen to Michigan crowd. Oh, it's going to just float over. Jim Harbaugh suspended for a year today. If he's still a college football coach, obviously he's not. 4-year show cause just from Cheeseburger Gate, folks. That's nothing compared to what's coming with the sign stealing. So again, we're not prophets, but we're just way smarter than the rest of the media that says, oh, nothing's going to happen, everything's safe. I don't think anything is safe at this point, especially when people are skating out of there. Again, we've said ad nauseum, how many times has a team gone 15-0, won a national championship, and the entire staff leaves, minus the most worthless guy they have, Sharon Moore, who is a patsy, and he took $20 million to stay. So again, I hate that we're red all the time, but I think we got this thing nailed. We're going to bring in Nevadabuck. As always, if you guys appreciate this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, this is going to be a huge show because you guys make it one, so thank you for that. As always, our channel is growing at an incredible rate right now because of the accuracy of Nevadabuck and what we're bringing to the table. The Scoop family is strong. The chat is excellent. Thank you to all of you guys that are in here early. And again, I just appreciate you guys so very much. So again, hit that like button. Follow us on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. Even if you enjoy it on YouTube, that is an easy thing to do to really help us and support us. With that being said, I'm going to get right to Nevada, really bad day for the Michigan people. Really bad day for Paul Feinbaum, and nothing's going to happen. Everything's going to just wash over. I'm like, I don't think that's how they're playing right now. And again, I know that most of the punitive damages came down on Jim Harbaugh today, but the NCAA does that kindly to people that are repeat offenders, people that have existing show causes. What's the latest? Were you surprised by the ruling today? I was not. I'm sure you weren't. But the veracity of this thing is pretty substantial, and that's why, again, we've been on this thing since October, and you've been the most sourced up person in the entire country breaking this news. What's your reaction today to the ruling that Jim Harbaugh is suspended for a year from coaching in college football, and what do you think Roger Goodell could potentially do?
Well, again, a lot to unwind here. I got to say, I was surprised. I am sourced up on this one, but I was surprised by the 1-year suspension. I knew it would be a lengthy show cause. I didn't know about the 1-year suspension. Did not know about that. And I can't remember ever a coach being suspended for a year. Certainly not a prominent coach. And so we're kind of getting into new ground. So you have to immediately ask yourself, well, why would they do that? Why would they suspend him when they know that he's gone on to the NFL? Why would they, put a 1-year suspension on him? And the only logical conclusion, and kind of check this out as well, the NCAA is doing this to basically open the door to the NFL to enforce their penalty. Ohio State had given Tressel a 5-day or 6-game, 6-week suspension or whatever it was. The Indianapolis Colts then honored it so that Goodell didn't have to do anything from the NFL standpoint. Goodell very famously said that the NFL cannot be a safe harbor for people trying to skirt the rules. And he was saying that in reference to Terrell Pryor. But even now, after this thing came down today, it's a 48-page document. It's on Nevadabuck Twitter. It's all over the internet. So you can read it for yourself. If you take a little bit of time and educate yourself about this, you'll say, wow, man, these guys really knew what they were talking about. And wow, Jim Harbaugh, one, is he's a pathological liar. Two, he ran a rogue program where even their compliance director said they would go right up the line and over the line, and that they didn't adhere to the rules there, and that they were regularly breaking rules. I mean, this Cheeseburger Gate basically boils down to the NCAA found out that Jim Harbaugh had met with a player and his parent, and they said, "Hey, we've interviewed this parent and parent." And they said they met you and they had breakfast with you, and he said, "No, never met him, never met him, never." And so then they showed the receipt, and the parents had said, hey, what was really notable about this breakfast, we had breakfast with Coach Harbaugh, was he ordered a cheeseburger at breakfast. So check his receipts and see if you see a receipt from whatever, Denny's on such and such day to such and such morning. It'll have a cheeseburger on it. And sure enough, they get the receipts, they get stuff, and lo and behold, there's a breakfast receipt with a cheeseburger on it. And Harbaugh continued to double down and lie on this after that. He's like, nope, that's just, I've never met them. I never did that. So they came to the only conclusion they have that this guy is a pathological liar, that he's lying to impede an investigation, that made these aggregated factors. This took this from being a level 2 violation to a level 1 violation. And they hit him with a 4-year show cause and a 1-year suspension. And I believe that this is going to force the NFL/Chargers or whomever, whatever way that they do this, to suspend him. And maybe he gets credit for for 3 games, time served or whatever it is. But I think he's going to serve a lengthy suspension. I think this forced his hand. I think the NCAA was purposeful in terms of forcing his hand today. And I really think that's going to be a penalty that's going to come down. And people ask the question, Nevadabuck, well, Pete Carroll was at USC and all that stuff came down, and Pete Carroll went to the NFL and nothing happened. And how could that be, Nevada? You're saying Harbaugh's going to get it. I'm like, Pete Carroll never got hit with a show cause. Go look. Pete Carroll never got hit with a show cause. That was USC. That was impermissible benefits. That was Reggie Bush. That was lack of institutional control. That was all those things, but it wasn't Pete Carroll. This is Jim Harbaugh and a 1-year suspension. So go educate yourself. Read that 48-page document if you can. I know it's a tough reading, and about 22 pages of it is pretty hard, but you slug through it. And the one thing that you're left with is the NCAA, a mitigating factor for a lot of people, and a lot of reasons that it wasn't worse for a lot of people on this was because they had no previous NCAA involvement. And so you say, well, what's the significance of that in Nevada? Well, on this next one, now all these people like Sharon Moore have got they've got NCAA involvement. They're on probation. They've already violated NCAA rules, and now they did it again on the sign stealing thing. Now they're repeat offenders. Now all the mitigating factors are off. So today I was surprised. I was surprised by the year suspension. I had not heard about that. I think it was a masterstroke by the NCAA, and I think it's a strong precursor to the fact that Jim Harbaugh is going to serve a lengthy suspension in NFL. And if you follow the NFL insiders now, they're all starting to talk about this. They're all starting to. This is in the last 24 hours. This thing coming out has kind of changed the whole narrative on that. Not that I give a hooty hoot about the narrative, but it's interesting to watch it change. But yeah, I'm calling suspension for Harbaugh in the NFL.
Yeah, I think that it's very interesting when you go into it and you talk about the people that were affected. You talk about the people that were again we know who was affected, and it's something where it's not looking too hot for Michigan right now because those guys he lied. And again, it's like a lot of offenses in life, folks, where if you mess up one time, it's like the NFL drug testing policy. If you get busted for smoking, in the old days, I know they've abolished it, but you like Ohio State, NFL, if you get busted the first time for smoking marijuana, you fail a test, like they put you in counseling, there's no initial suspension, but then each subsequent time it ramps up. So that second time, if you get busted, you lose a third of the season. So that's like 4 games. And then the third time is you're out for the entire season. So, with Jim Harbaugh, it's very similar with the NCAA. So, if you screw something up and it's an accident, like people make mistakes, etc. But when it becomes a pattern of behavior and you're just a flat out liar, and again, I've called him the Lance Armstrong of football. That's exactly who he is. Oh, I've taken every test. I've been tested more than anyone in the world. Wear my little Live Strong bracelets. Again, there was a time where that was like the most fashionable thing, all those stupid yellow bracelets. I was like, I think this guy's a total douchebag. I think he's a liar. And then as soon as I was proven right, and he's busted, he's juiced to the gills, he's on everything on demand. Like that's what it was. Again, there's some people I think they have this disorder where that's what they do. And Jim Harbaugh is that guy. He's like, well, I was grown up to be treated ethically and don't lie and don't steal and don't cheat and I have no knowledge of anything, no involvement in anything. I'm like, And again, I've said it a million times because sometimes things just don't make sense in life. But when there's an intern talking to your coordinators before every play, and he's standing right next to you, and you're just gonna sit there and say, "Well, I had no idea. I had no idea that we got all of our stuff from sweatshop labor. I had no idea." It's like, when you're the CEO of the organization, you're on the hook for everything. You better know what everyone's doing, and you better know if a guy's making 30 grand a year, why is he talking to my coordinators before every play? So, again, you can only play stupid for so long. Eventually, you'll run into people that are smarter than you, like we are. And it'll say, yeah, you're just, you're a guy that you were desperate. You're trying to get back to the NFL. The Michigan thing was a plane that hit the side of the mountain, and Ward Manuel cut your salary by half. And so you weren't like the sexy option for these NFL teams. So what can you do? Well, this kid says he can pick all the signs and tell us what the plays are. So, okay, magically, a bunch of 3-star guys that stink that Ryan Day would mop the floor with all of a sudden become good because they know what's coming and they can make play calls and adjustments off of it. And so magically, he gussies up his resume. He beats Ryan Day 3 times in a row, goes 50-0 in the penalty, in the final season, and he whisks off to California and gets a $100 million deal with the Chargers. So again, like we've been talking about it, this is a bad day for guys like Paul Feinbaum and all these other morons. Nothing's going to happen to Michigan. It's like, you don't think anything's going to happen to these guys? Do you see what Harbaugh got hit with? What do you think the school's going to get hit with? When they have a level 1 violation, lack of institutional control is going to be coming. It's the most predictable thing of all time. And these guys are about to get smoked. The hammer is going to drop, so you don't have to ask anymore. Like the hammer today is like the hammer. It's like, oh, well, Jim Harbaugh left, but he could get suspended for a year by the NFL. Because like Roger Goodell is not going to let these guys that cheat. And again, there's a pattern. The guys that are major cheaters, it's a lot of NFL guys. Because the NFL has way different rules than college. So like, when there's impermissible contact and you can't do stuff in the offseason and you can't have extra coaches on the field, Herm Edwards smoked. Antonio Pierce smoked. Like, look at their penalties at Arizona State. Jim Harbaugh, who's a longtime NFL guy, with the 49ers, like, they don't have as many rules. So again, he disregards the rules. He thinks that he can be slick. He thinks he can recruit during the COVID period, and people talk. There's digital receipts. It's real easy to track a lot of the stuff down. So it's a different world. Nevada. Any follow-ups on that? We're starting to get some super chats. But yeah, I think I wasn't stunned, but when you see that that's the penalty that they got for Cheeseburger Gate, and then you see what they did, which literally affected the outcomes. And that's just recruiting violations. But then you get into the stuff that affected the outcome of games and destroyed livelihoods. That is going to be monstrous. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, a couple of things. One, Harbaugh, helping out his alma mater as usual, has Tom Mars, his lawyer, come out with a statement just basically taunting the NCAA and just basically daring them to do something to him today, which again, probably not the smartest thing that you can do, and probably not something that you do unless, frankly, there's a part of him that wants to hurt Michigan. That he's not there anymore. He doesn't want his successor to be as successful as he was. He's got bad feelings with the administration. I think he's trying to burn that place down. And having Tom Marks just basically flip off the NCAA is not going to help. And as you said, this is all about Cheeseburger Gate. This is nothing about the sign stealing. And the sign stealing, it's so difficult because everything, we've talked about the types of the range of penalties and the range of crimes that have gone on in the NCAA, and it's generally ineligible players, impermissible benefits, academic fraud. That's the kind of thing. Can you ever remember something involving like the game? Like that was like, I can't. The only thing that I can come up with that didn't fall in any of the other categories was Penn State. And we know what happened there. We know that was bad, and we know they got just absolutely eviscerated. But this one and that one didn't even go to the heart of the matter. That didn't even go to on-field game. This one went right to the heart of the matter, that they were cheating in games, and it developed a clear and distinct advantage for them. So, as Michigan fans, like you said, this was a bad day, unprecedented suspension, 4-year show cause. But most importantly of all, this finally puts to bed everything on Cheeseburger Gate, which lays open the option for repeat offender when the next one comes down. Because this one's now this case is down. Now these guys all have your record now. You're all on probation, and now you're staring down the barrel of another investigation. And that is the worst of the worst. This opens you up to the most draconian penalty. That's what happened with Pony Excess. It wasn't the first time that they did it. It was the second time that they did it. And so for Michigan, they're staring down the barrel. They're continuing to flip off the NCAA. Oh, this is nothing. Oh, you're toothless. Oh, you can't do anything. We'll see. we'll see how that kind of turns out. But yeah, great day for justice today. Bad day for Michigan.
And again, that's what we've been like screaming. I'm like, guys, like, it's one thing to screw up once, but it's another thing to screw up again. And what you do the second time is 1,000 times worse than the first time. It's like, what's Sharon Moore up against? I mean, he's already lied on probation, second offense. I mean, that's what is crazy is when people are like, oh, it's going to wash over and no one's going to know and everything's safe. I'm like, guys, like, when you consistently lie to the NCAA, and again, the way they went about this, again, if I was the athletic director, for one, Michigan would be a million times better than because Ward Manuel is as dumb of a human being. He's up there with Kevin Warren and some of the dumbest people that I've seen in sports. Like, for you guys to thumb your nose, for you guys to come out and say, bet, and then the president's bet, and you guys are just like thumbing your nose when you guys know you're caught cheating. And again, I talked to you about this earlier. It's like, they said that they scouted 58 games or whatever. And I'm like, well, you could probably almost, I don't want to say you could double that number, but when you scout 58 games, that means you're probably scouting both sides of the games. Because if Ohio State's playing Penn State, you're probably putting guys on both sidelines so you can get double the film and you just kind of start getting into the Big Ten season and say, hey, let's get both teams and get their signals. So this is a massive scandal. This is a massive deal. This is the biggest cheating scandal in sports history. And it literally directly led to them winning a national championship. And again, like Connor Sirens, he left there, he boogied out of there with the hard drives. And then, he sent the one call sheet or signal sheet to one of the other interns. So again, did it stop when he was fired? I don't know. If you're really good at something and cheating is the reason why you're good, like, do you want it to stop when you get rid of the guy who's the main signaler? Maybe. I don't know. And again, I'm not trying to be tinfoil hat guy, but if they're used to it, again, if you're used to calling your defense or calling your offense based upon knowing exactly what the other team's doing, and magically you don't have that anymore, that's terrifying. Like, I mean, if I'm used to winning poker matches and being this awesome poker player because someone's telling me what everyone else has in their hand, and then all of a sudden I don't have that, then magically, like, I just look like I'm just some regular jamoke. And I'm going to get scorched when I actually have to go against real talented players. So I think it's going to be fascinating. I think that, again, there are a lot of really dumb people. There's a lot of people that have to push narratives. Again, we talked about this with Pete Thamel getting the draft notice of allegations and the conditions that they probably got that under, where they say, oh, well, Michigan's going to give us this, but we have to say, well, nothing's going to happen, and it's just a draft notice, and it's going to be all of their their season is safe and the championship is safe. I'm like, well, I don't think you saw this coming. Jim Harbaugh 1-year suspension, and again, like when these guys all flee, the NCAA is still going to get their chunk of flesh. They're not just going to let everybody skate out of there, because again, this was like the little wave. You got the tidal wave coming next. It's gonna you got the tsunami coming after this with the Spygate, because the Cheeseburger Gate is bad, but the NCAA, and in my opinion, and Nevada, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they seem like they're in a really foul mood right now. When you look at the Arizona State ruling, and again, and they had exemplary cooperation in that ruling. And then you look at the Kentucky ruling for, no-show jobs that guys got money for, 2-year bowl ban. So this isn't the best time to thumb your nose at the NCAA, to give them the double bird, to tell them to go screw themselves, which essentially is what Michigan's doing. They say, oh, you don't have jurisdiction over here. You're just the NCAA. You're not worthless. You're worthless. Like, we're going to have the Big Ten, SEC, NFL, and we're going to have a commissioner, and the NCAA is going to be regulated to being nothing. I don't think that anyone told the NCAA that. And I think that when these teams have been emboldened with their cheating, they're finding out pretty quick that the NCAA still does have substantial power, and they're going to smash people that cheat. And again, the eyes of the world are on the NCAA right now because, again, if you just let this thing float and you say, hey, this is fine, and maybe next time we'll punish them, and you're on probation or something light, then everyone's going to start doing it if there's no real punishment. So I think that that's going to ramp up the hammer. I think the hammer is going to go from a mallet to the hammer of God, and it's going to come down on these guys. Nevada, what are your thoughts? And we'll dig into some super chats.
Well, yeah, again, think about this whole, the moniker that we've laid on this first scandal. It's called Cheeseburger Gate because the Michigan people tried to minimize it like it was just about buying a guy a cheeseburger. And now you read 48 pages today and you realize, no, it was way more than that. So maybe the Michigan people are miscalculating the severity of this stuff. So if you're a fan and you're asking yourself about that, just read the report today and ask yourself, is that just about a cheeseburger? And I think you'll rest easier because I think people lose faith. They're like, the Michigan people are saying it's not going to be anything. It's like they always say that. They've been saying that since the beginning. They've been telling you that Jim Harbaugh was going to sign an extension. Can you imagine you sign an extension and then he gets suspended for a year and has a 4-year show cause? He'd have been fired today. Today he'd have been fired. He'd be unemployed. His contract would have been null and void. And where would Michigan be there? So, like, the whole idea that he was going to ever sign an extension, not going to happen. The fact that they ever believed this was just about a cheeseburger, no, that was all a lie. Everything they're telling you, everything the media is telling you is a lie. Read the stuff for yourself, educate yourself, and you'll rest easy. No, they're going to get justice.
Well, the thing about it with me is, like, he knew what was coming because, again, Jim Harbaugh's favorite thing in the world to do is just play dumb. I didn't know. I had no idea, or I've never lied. I've never cheated. I didn't know what was going on. Like, again, here's the deal. When it's like if you're the chairman of Walmart or the CEO of Walmart, like, you don't get a pass if your stuff's coming from sweatshop labor. You can't say, well, I didn't know. I had no idea why we could sell our jeans for $10 instead of $50. I didn't know. Like, just because you think that you're, like, obtuse and stupid, like, when you're the head of the organization, it all falls under you have to know what everybody's doing. And again, that doesn't pass the smell test when you're making $12 million a year as the head coach at Michigan, or he got his pay cuts of $5 million or whatever it was. But that was his thing. He's like, oh, I had no idea. I never saw it. And again, Jim Harbaugh, who is a lifer, he's a lifer in football, folks. So when you're a lifer, you've seen it all. You know how the operation of an organization works. You've seen how that sideline works. You've never seen an intern talk to your coordinators before every play before, ever. And again, I challenge you guys, go show me some film of another team, another high-level team with an intern talking to their coordinators before every play. Because again, when you're Brett Venables or some of these big-name coordinators, they love putting those guys on TV. Show me how many times you see an intern talking in his ear before every play call. Because again, when you're a big name, when you're Chip Kelly will be like catnip to the TV networks. So I have Chip Kelly down there with his little play sheet talking to Will Howard's helmet. And you're not going to see some intern talking to Chip Kelly before every play, or Jim Knowles. And again, Jim Knowles is up in the booth. He's isolated. He's sitting next to usually one of the position coaches, whoever's going to be this year. But you don't see a guy whispering in his ear before every play. And again, Jim Harbaugh, again, he loves to act dumb. He loves to lie. He's the biggest fraud in college football history. He's the biggest liar in college football history. I had no idea. I didn't know. How could you ever? It was the greatest thing ever is the lone wolf. Oh, he's just a lone wolf. And here's the thing. If Connor Stein just picked it all on his own and didn't tell anybody, then nobody would know. Nobody would care. But those coaches found out that he was doing that, and they said, "Wow, this will make me way better at what I do if I know exactly what coverage they're in, exactly what defense, exactly what they're running on defense." Man, it's way easier to call it when you give me. If you can give me that,
Kirk,
good.
Can I just want to say one thing because
Sure.
this is on the Jim Harbaugh thing. If I read one more time that they haven't made a connection between Connor Stallions and Jim Harbaugh, yeah, it's
Jesus,
because Jim
Brendan.
Harbaugh destroyed all his phones and all stuff, and Connor Stallions took off with the hard drive and went sit for an interview. So yeah, we're left to infer that we're left with common sense to say, oh yeah, I wonder if Jim Harbaugh, who gets paid $20 million a year now by the Chargers, would notice that some little Geppetto is jumping up and down, yelling next to his coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
and wonder where that information came from. Yes, the only reason that they haven't been able to establish the connection is because those guys destroyed the evidence and wouldn't sit for interviews. So, anyway, I'm off my mountain of yelling because
No,
that just upsets me whenever I read that. It's like, come on.
well, again, when you're that big, you're that powerful, you came up in the game, you're a coach's son, you know all of the gyrations of the sideline. You know who's supposed to be where, who's talking to who's got a job. So when all of a sudden there's some random dude talking to your coordinators before every play and he's right on his hip. And again, there's a lot of photos of Connor Stallions right next to Jim Harbaugh. So Lord knows what he's telling him, but it's not because, again, go show me a photo of some intern talking to Urban Meyer on game day. Please just find me one. An intern, some guy who's making 20 grand a year or whatever. Go, just find me one where he's talking to Urban Meyer about anything during a game. Even Jim Tressel. Like, dude, I had interns that worked for me that were my subservience because I was a GA and they had to work, they worked their way up through us and through the position coaches. Like, they didn't talk to the head coach. They're just happy to get a free polo and some khakis to be on the sideline during the game. They're charting plays. They got a little thing saying this is the formation and the play, and this is the coverage we got. That's what they do. That's what interns do. That's what Connor Stallions is supposed to do on. They're not talking to the coordinator. So again, it's absurd. Nevada, let's get into these super chats. I know that you've got a hard stop in 10 minutes, so we'll grind it through these real quick. Appreciate you guys. SC Buckeye, thank you for the deuce. Appreciate you, man. Harbaugh equals the quarterback from draft day. Lies to cover lies. Yeah, he's Bo Callahan. That's exactly who he is. He's a total moron. And I think that's a great reference. So I appreciate you being an Ultra member, my friend. G Chima 4 live. Thank you for the 5. How can the Team Up North fans honestly think that nothing is going to happen? I find it so funny how delusional they are with this whole case. Well, I just think that they wanted to believe in it. It's like believing in Santa Claus. Eventually you realize that, oh God, maybe Santa Claus isn't real. Maybe Michigan really isn't good. A bunch of 3-star guys who had 50, COVID guys that were 6-year guys or whatever. Like, eventually, like the rubber meets the road. And again, we talked about the first half of that 22 game where they went from getting smoked to running through us. Like, they had the signs. It was easy. Nevada, your thoughts? How can the team up north, the cheaters up north honestly think that nothing is going to happen? I find it so funny how delusional they are with this whole case.
I mean, it's all they have. So, delusion and hope is their strategy right now. And they're gonna go down with the ship. And when it comes, then they'll claim overreach because Michigan fans are always the victim. It's always somebody else's fault. We didn't do this. Ohio State's been doing this for years. We're just leveling the playing field. Oh, the NCAA is being mean to us. Oh, I mean, Michigan fans are always that is one of the overriding characteristics of the Michigan fans, along with stupidity, is I'm a victim. I'm always a victim. Poor me. We've been cheated. Ohio State that JT Barrett was short. He didn't make the line to game. Oh, wow. Oh, that kick was in. Mike Lantry didn't miss the field goal. Wow. So, I mean, I don't know. I can just tell you, if I was an Ohio State fan and this was, I thought about that today. I'm like, if this stuff was coming out and I'm an Ohio State fan, I am just mortified. I am absolutely mortified of what's to come and what's going to happen to my football program. And I know deep down inside, at least the intelligent ones are probably right there with you.
Well, yeah, if Ryan Day and his staff did this, just fire them all. Get rid of all of them. Because you guys dug us into a hole that we can't get out of. Like, we're going to be under, show cause and suspensions and scholarship reductions. Like, get rid of everybody. And this isn't like Jim Tressel. Like, that was a nothing burger. Like, this is cheating this is disgracing the university. Like when you wear your little Michigan polo around, you're going to be laughed at because you look like a douchebag. So that's where I'm at. We got a couple that were pre-show, so let me see if I can get these here. Warpath, thank you for the 20. Appreciate you, brother. Kirk, what makes this entire soap opera at scum is that Harbaugh claims to be Catholic. So does Joe Biden. He sold his family's name and Michigan's too. Do you think schools will sue him if they are caught point shaving as well? Nevada OH? I don't know if they'll sue because I think that it's just going to cost a lot of money and you probably won't get anything out of it. But it's going to be hard to. Again, they're already in the league, but I mean, Michigan doing this and their overall stupidity is going to be something that'll be a sight to behold. Nevada, you probably don't think that a team will sue them if they're caught point shaving. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, there have been class action suits from gamblers about that stuff. That's always been thrown out.
Yeah,
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 I don't think that stuff's ever going to be on anything. But
yeah,
you know, I mean, your reputation's everything. Your reputation's everything in life. And for
yeah.
Harbaugh, if there are people that think that Harbaugh got away with this unscathed, and I was like, dude, his reputation he will always be known as Harbaugh the cheater. And think about it as an Ohio State fan. You think about that 2002 game against Miami, we won, and then you
Mm-hmm.
saw the Miami fans crying about the late flag, and
Yep.
I know that bothers a lot of people. Imagine if you're always known as the team that cheated to win a title. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be super annoying, and Harbaugh owns that forever and ever, and it's about to get worse.
Yeah, and a classic class action lawsuit is like I went to the Mayweather Pacquiao fight back whatever it was 10 years ago or whatever, and Manny Pacquiao had a torn labrum, never should have fought, but he hit it from the physical, fought in the fight, got smashed by Mayweather, of course, but a lot of people bet on Pacquiao because he was a pretty decent underdog, and there were all these props, knockout in the third round and Maypac, but if you knew that his labrum was wrecked, then there's no way you bet that. But they're trying to bring a lawsuit against it. Didn't happen. Again, I don't know what the. I mean, I know obviously you have to pass a physical and everything has to be. You have to sign that you're healthy and whatever. But he clearly wasn't, and he fought like it. But if you delay that thing, you lose $150 million or whatever Pacquiao got paid. So he fought it. He lost, and he still cashed a 9-figure check. So, again, I've seen the gambling stuff before, but if it's not going to happen for that one where people bet a lot of money on Pacquiao and had no chance of winning, then I don't know if it's ever going to happen. Andre Duke, another pre-show one. Thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, brother. Kirk, what would happen to Jim if the team up north is gambling, and how long till Moore is out the door? Because watching his press conferences, he looks like he's dead. Well, again, if I'm Michigan, I'm firing him for cause. I mean, he's going to be a repeat offender. I would fire hose the entire organization is what I would do. And I don't think he's good anyways. I think there's going to be a full rebuild and they're going to lose a lot of scholarships. Nevada, your thoughts again, Andre, and guys, check out the Andre Duke show. He does a great job, with Carter Smith, a fantastic show. Been on it before. Check our guy, Andre Duke out. He says, Nevada, what would happen if to Jim, if the team at North is gambling, and how long till Moore is out the door? Because, his press conferences looks like he's dead. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, the gambling stuff is we're going to wait to see that is the next big shoe to fall. Even though today was a pretty seismic one as well. Every day it seems like there's a bigger shoe falling. As for Sharon Moore, I mean, I don't know how he survives. He's on probation. He's got hit with a level 2. There's no mitigating factors now that he's already got that he's a repeat offender. That's going to give him a show cause at least 1 year. And at that point, I think he's got to be fired. So I think Sharon Moore is a dead man walking.
Totally agree. We got 5 minutes with Nevada. Chris Schmidbauer, thank you for the 10. From day one, Harbaugh's goal is to get back to the NFL. When his stock was the lowest, he cheated to get back to the top. The NFL has to do something, or others will do the same and run to the pros. I agree. I think that Roger Goodell is going to smoke him. Nevada, your thoughts?
I think he has to. I think
Yep.
absolute
Uh,
authority to do this.
yep.
And if there ever was a classic case of a guy doing it, it's Harbaugh. So I think the penalty's got to fit the crime.
I completely agree. Tony Turley, our guy, the king of Toledo. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the 20. Thank you for being an ultra member as well. Guys, juries across the country determine quote unquote facts derived from inferences every day. The NCAA has the authority to do the same. Michigan man equals congenital liar. I totally agree. Nevada, your thoughts. Again, juries across the country determine facts from inferences, which again, if you don't turn over your phone and you don't cooperate, then the jury's left to wonder why. They're going to say, why did you not cooperate? But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, again, all you got to do is use common sense, and that's why this, it's the old thing the lawyers use about, if you go outside and you come back in and you're covered with water, and it's a pretty easy inference that it was raining outside, even if you didn't see it, you can make a pretty easy inference. Well, with Jim Harbaugh, it's a pretty easy inference when you see a guy running around on the sideline, and you're the head man, the guy that's ultimately responsible for everything. The idea that you didn't know what he's doing and you wouldn't turn over your communications, it's a pretty easy inference to know that you're implicated in this in some way, shape, or form, and ultimately you're responsible.
Totally agree. Pooh 12, thank you for being an ultra member. Thank you for the 5. Absolutely loved Coach Locke's interview today. No doubt our running backs will bring it. Couldn't possibly be a bigger upgrade from Tony on our HOUR mind, Alfred. I agree. Tony was low energy. He was the worst coach on staff. Should have been fired in December. Quinshon Judkins saved his job momentarily. But yeah, Carlos Locken's going to kill it. He'll be a future head coach. A lot of energy. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I love Coach Locke, and we told you this at the time. And when the Alford thing went down, remember what we said? We're like, guys, this is going to be the biggest upgrade ever,
Yeah.
and wait till we see what we get. And you guys can all see it. You've seen the results in recruiting, you see the results in coaching, you see the results in energy, and heck, Tony Alford could be the next head coach at Michigan. So that would be a bonus on top of a bonus. That would be fantastic.
What a God said. Adam Dowling, this is great. Thanks for the 5. Have you guys ever thought that this is why both Michigan coordinators are always calling plays from the field? That is a fantastic point. It makes a lot of sense with Connor down there. Nevada, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I wondered, somebody made the great point about I just wonder how good some of these Michigan defensive players are. They played in a system where they knew what play was coming, and is that an advantage? Heck yeah, that's an advantage, and specifically on the defensive side. So I know they got the two big stud defensive tackles and Will Johnson, but I mean, are they 3% less good or 7% less good? But there's something. It definitely affected their play in a positive way, and it's not going to be there as a security blanket this year.
A great Thomas Sanders, thank you for being an ultra member. Thank you for the 20, my friend. Regarding the Connor Quorum LLC with Wyoming, it's a way to avoid sales tax on big purchases or businesses. Wondering if this is a way to funnel tax-free money. Makes a lot of sense. Want to buy $5,000 used vacuum. We've talked about the money laundering aspect because I think that's something people aren't really getting. Nevada, any thought on that?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. And somebody was showing that they changed registered agents like 7 months after they had it. So I mean, it sounds like there was still assets in that thing. And I am convinced, this is speculation, but I'm convinced that was the vehicle that they were using to funnel the money, because as we've talked about, this was at least hundreds of thousands of dollars type of operation. Someone was funneling that somewhere. You need to have some sort of a business to be able to do that. I firmly am convinced that it was the used vacuum cleaner business was a funnel to get the money. Kind of like the Contras, where they were selling the drugs to get money for the Contras to buy the weapons. I think they were using that vacuum thing to funnel money so he could do his illegal sign stealing.
Totally agree. Cordero Jackson, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, brother. Do we really call the Cheaters up north a good defense? You put any star athlete on the field, tell them the play is coming, and they can make great plays. I think you move to top 15, 20. I agree. I think their defense is going to take a huge hit this year. Nevada, your thoughts?
Yeah, I said it earlier. I think that's a big thing, and I think their defense in general is going to take a step down, and I question how good some of those players are.
Totally agree. Nevada, you have to boogie. Any final thoughts? I will knock out the rest of these super chats.
Yeah, just stick with it, Kirk. This is a great story. This is a great show. I apologize. I have an engagement I have to run to, so I will. But I will be here tomorrow night, and we'll do.
Got you, my dude. Ty Kroner, thank you for the 5. Official NCAA Natty list doesn't list Michigan as champions. Most recent is 22 Georgia. Is this a sign or is it nothing? I'm going to say OHIO. Thank you, Ty Kroner. Appreciate you, brother. Could be a sign. Could be an ominous one. I've not seen that. I believe you, though. So I'll look that up and see what I can find. But again, the walls are closing in, and I absolutely love it. Sean Schrock, thank you for the 5. Thanks for being ultra member. Thank you for being on here all the time and getting the chat litty along with Steely and the rest of the Scoop family. We appreciate you guys. Kirk, do you see that Stallions may have helped South Carolina against Tennessee? A Tennessee podcast was talking about it today. I did not see that. I don't doubt it, but I absolutely could. I could see it. I mean, he is when you're a young coach, you're trying to expand your utility to anybody that could potentially hire you. Again, when you're a young GA or an intern at a place like Michigan, he's trying to catch the eye of somebody and make it to the point where, hey, we got to get this guy on staff, got to give him to hire, and away we go. So that won't surprise me at all. I will look into that, and I appreciate that, Sean. That is a great super chat. NJ Phil, thank you for the 10. Just noticed that you're live, but I was curious. It seemed in a video that all the players knew what was going on. How could Hutchinson be so disrespectful to CJ at the Heisman ceremony? Losers in every way. Well, I think that, when your coach is Jim Harbaugh and he has no ethics and he's a scumbag, it kind of runs downhill to the rest of your players. That's kind of the culture that he set where he says something and people that aren't very intelligent, like Michigan fans, Michigan donors, Rich Eisen, they buy into it. The Michigan man, ethics, leaders of the West, champions, the rest of it. It's all trash. It's all garbage at this point. And we're the truth tellers, which again, that's why we are who we are. That's why Michigan fans tune in to listen to what we have to say, because we give to them straight. We're not here to, make friends or whatever. But I'm saying what they did was heinous. Aiden Hutchinson was a zero. He's a nobody. I mean, he got crunched by our guys the entire time that he played until his last year. And then magically those guys got way better. They got a big win, vaulted in the next 2 years. And then it turns out that the reason they got way better is because they were stealing the signs. Like they were in the perfect, go back and watch those games. Look at how many times that our defense was out leveraged, and look how many times they seemed to have the perfect coverage or blitz versus what we were doing. It's because they knew what was coming. They saw the signs. Again, go look at Connor Stalions' 58 games he scouted. And again, they said that he scouted one opponent 7 times, but who were we playing? We're probably playing Penn State, probably playing Michigan State, probably playing Iowa. So they're getting both team signals. They're figuring out the patterns in the signals. Do they switch the signals? Like what is their how do they deal with potentially knowing that signs are getting stolen? So it's very interesting at this point, but that's what they do. And again, like the video, again, thank you to 10 TV and thank you to Fox and all these people that had these graphics where it's like, here's Connor Stalions pointing at the sky. All the players are pointing at the sky. So again, when people say you can't punch the players, like the players knew what was going on. They were loving it. I mean, they were like, man, this is like stealing. This is like, counting cards. This is like something where you have a huge unfair advantage versus your opponent and they can't stop it. And we're going to win and we get to celebrate in the locker room and plant the flag on the field. And, but the chickens are coming home to roost, which is going to be the best part about this entire operation because they got to enjoy their time back then. But those games aren't going to count. They're going to get smoked. And, again, I think that they're going to lose everything because again, the repeat offender thing is so huge. And again, the dishonesty, because again, Michigan in an entirety is a dishonest program. And again, if I am the chairman of the board of trustees at the University of Michigan, if this happened at Ohio State, I say we have to fire everybody, get everybody out of Schembechler Hall, get Ward Manuel, the first U-Haul out here. They're all fired for cause. They all knew what was going on, because they did. And the thing is in modern times is the revolution is televised. Like you can see what they're doing. So when Jim Harbaugh says, "Oh, I had no idea. I had no clue," it's like, well, why are you talking to him why are you talking to an intern the entire game? Show me another intern that you've ever talked to at this volume like you did Connor Stalions. And I'd say that's your coordinator. So why are you talking to him the whole game? Do you talk to any other interns, any other $30,000 a year employees? No. Why is that? Let's go back to your entire coaching career and see what you can find. So again, I think it's going to be glorious. I'm so excited about it. And I love that Michigan's going to get absolutely hammered because the Scoop had it first. So with that being said, again, I appreciate you guys. We are going to wrap this thing up. If you guys want to do something spectacular and help out Buckeye Scoop, you can see our girl. Andy Jo Taylor. She is going to be at Fenders. I'm looking for her little promo flyer. I put a little note up on BuckeyeScoop.com. This will be probably a little bit. It's funny. So it kind of cuts her head off a little bit, but there she is. There's Andy Jo, 8:30 to 11:30 at Fenders, right next to Players Mall. If you guys are local to Columbus, drive over there. I'll be down there probably about 9:30 or so. Hang out for a couple hours, see Andy Jo, her folks. They are humongous Buckeye Scoop fans. So let's support our girl. Come out, have a good time. Wear your Scoop gear. I look forward to seeing you guys as always. I hope you guys have a great night. Again, if you guys enjoy this content, please give us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Appreciate you guys so very much as always. You guys kill it. This is a huge show because you guys made it when Michigan's about to get smoked. It's going to be a great time to be on BuckeyeScoop.com. If you guys aren't members of BuckeyeScoop.com, it is your concierge access to Ohio State football, inside information, what's going on in practice. There's some guys that are out today. There's a little bit of a thing going around the team, so we're going to get into that a little bit. But dig into BuckeyeScoop.com. If you guys love this show, upgrade your lifestyle and join BuckeyeScoop.com because that's where we're at the other 23 hours a day. So it's an awesome place to be. Great people. You'll meet some of your best friends, people you can tailgate with, people that you guys can get to know, great business people, super high level people that are big hitters at Ohio State that belong to the site. Again, there's never been a better time to join. So I'd love to see you on BuckeyeScoop.com. With that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We will talk to you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. back to the regular time. Go Bucks.